So imagine a world where young people are empowered to think critically, develop independent reasoning, and engage in respectful discourse, even when it comes to authority figures like parents. We have three questions of framing in this space. One, definition. Two layer of analysis. One, questioning parental authority. This does not mean we're like disobedient, like we're teaching disobedience or disrespect. It means fostering a mindset where children feel comfortable, respectfully questioning decisions and reasoning, thus building critical thinking skills. Two, teaching. So school would encourage open decisions, instill reasoning skills, and provide safe spaces for students to express opinions. In fact, school is the best environment by watching their peers and developing at the same time. Two, the context. How does it actually look like? The characterization. Families have different values, but social progress often requires that people question established norms and ideas. School, as institution for learning, are uniquely positioned to help children develop critical thinking, independence, and confidence. Three, the burden. Our burden is to show that encouraging respectful questioning will lead to more responsible, independent, and well-reasoned, well-rounded individual. The opposition must demonstrate that questioning authority disrupts family dynamics, or that school are not the appropriate environment for this. So our three arguments are: one, build healthier family relationship; two, critical thinking and independence; three, preparing for democratic society. One. So for key analysis, what does it actually look like? Children taught to question authority constructively are more likely to engage in honest and open conversation with their parents. When young people are encouraged to express their thoughts, family bonds strengthen through trust, transparency, and mutual understanding. And why is this actually true? Studies like those kind of that actually shows that families with open communication are more having more good relationship with fewer misunderstanding or representment. Then why does this matter in this debate? When children and parent communicate openly, it fosters mutual respect and create a safe space for children to ask questions and seek guidance. It also helps parents to be more like adaptable and more charitable and responsive to their children's evolving needs. So, okay, the opposition might argue that this argument can also like cause conflict. Even if there is conflict, however, conflict is a part of learning and growth. Teaching children to question respectfully help them to navigate disagreement constructively. And how this is compared with the other side. In the opposite word, this discouraging a question can suppress open dialogue, leading to children to hide their thoughts or even avoiding confiding in their parents. By fostering questioning, we create family dynamics built on genuine understanding and respect. So from the get-go, we start this way benefiting two stakeholders, which is one, the parent, two, the child. So our second argument focuses on foster critical thinking and independence, or ways of constructing. Then how does it look like? Teaching children to question parental authority means they'll learn to analyze and evaluate, building essential skills like reasoning or negotiation and compromising. Then why is it actually true? The likelihood is really high since learning isn't just about memorizing facts and just like having solving math or something, but understanding the reason behind rules or belief and expectation. Judge, imagine a child who learns to respectfully question authority. He learns to think critically about all aspects of life, making them less believed to blind obedience and better equipped to contribute as active citizens. Then why does this matter? Independent thinkers are the drivers of innovation, social progress, and justice. A society that encourages young people to critically analyze authority is one that develops more responsible and ethical leaders. How does this compare? The opposition approach may create individuals who perform without questioning, which can lead to perpetuating outdated or even harmful ideas. For these reasons, I'm really proud to propose. Thank you.
Judge, we believe that questioning parents' authority will happen by nature. We believe that it is not necessary to teach these kids how to question authority. So before I move on in my speech, I'll first start with some rebuttals towards our opponent's side. So our opponents have talked about how they will teach we believe that first of all our opponents misunderstand what they're talking about in this motion. So we believe that teaching kids to question authority is way different than teaching them critical thinking and how to reason, because we believe that on our side we're still teaching kids how to critically think, but we're just not telling them that you should question your parents. We believe that this is a huge difference, and our opponents are actually talking about something that does not much have to do with this. And also our opponents have talked about blind obedience, but we believe that on our side, if we're still teaching them how to critically think and how to reason by themselves, we believe that this will happen naturally. And in my speech, I'll talk about why this is actually something that is natural, and if we teach them in school, this is actually going to be a terrible harm. So first of all, before I move on, I want to frame first of all what authority looks like. We believe that authority by these parents will probably look like telling these kids not to get addicted to playing video games, staying safe, and staying away from certain things that will harm their well-being. So why do we believe that, first of all, number one, questioning will be part of growing up? We believe that once kids grow into puberty, and if we teach them critical thinking skills in school, it is easily going to happen that they are going to get these skills. They're easily going to question their parents, because questioning their parents is part of growing up. But there's a key difference, Judge, between teaching them to question their parents and naturally developing the skill to question what their parents' decisions are. So what happens on our opponent's side of the world? On our opponents, if you're teaching this in school, what happens is if they're teaching in school, they don't know why they're questioning their parents. They just know they're questioning their parents because their teacher told them to, that their teacher telling them that your parents are always wrong. So they're just
Go
gonna
on.
say parents are wrong later. So why do we then difference on our side? On our side, we're teaching critical thinking skills. We're teaching them that you can be yourself. You can follow your dreams. So then they'll ask their parents, why? Why do you not want me to do this? Why is this unsafe? And then this is part of the learning process, because they are understanding why they believe this is unsafe instead of just doing this blindly. So we believe that there are a few main impacts here. So we believe that, first of all, this is terrible for growth because they do not know why they are questioning their parents. And this will happen later on in life as they grow up. They do not know why they'll be questioning their teachers. And if they grew up, if they were taught this, they do not know
Go
why
on.
late sure, I'll go ahead.
How come you got these type of people to not like question these type of people, like not know why they're questioning when these type of parents have the authority to like oppress their kids? That's going to make them question.
So we do not understand why parents would be willing to oppress their kids. We believe that most of the authority that the parents push upon is trying to teach them what is good for them, telling them how to stay safe, telling them such things to avoid because they have had that experience. So we believe that if you're telling them to just not listen to your parents, then they're more likely, as I was talking about, how they're more likely not to listen to their teachers. How growing up, they're more likely not to listen to the law because they do not know why they're not listening to the government, but they just think that because I was taught I'm not supposed to listen to that, then I'm not going to listen to it. And also, why does this harm the relationship between these kids and their parents? So if it was a natural questioning, we believe that this builds a relationship because they understand and their parents are willing to tell them why. Why is this bad for you? Why is continually being addicted to video games? What is the consequence for you? But if we're just telling them, the teachers are just teaching them how to question authority and telling them that you should question your parents, they do not understand why. They're just doing this, and their parents, even if they're explaining, they do not have any chance of telling their kids what is actually true. So for all the reasons above, keys the ballot to opposition. Thank you.
Just to live in a democratic world, the ability you need to master is the ability to question the people around you. The world does not make you a good person, right? Following the world as it rotates is not a road we want to walk. We want to question, we want to argue, we want to reduce misunderstanding as we decorate our future. We pursue a world, a family, a relationship where we can question and make our future. We believe that we pursue what everyone pursues as someone living in a democratic society can be achieved in the best by allowing children to learn the skill from the start. Not only that, our PM has proposed so many benefits in this debate, which was about how misunderstanding could be solved and relationships can be better in our world, which we believe stands. Therefore, in this debate, I'm going to prove why our world can always overwhelm the opposition's world. Before that, let me rebut to a side opposition side. Side opposition says they will also teach critical thinking, and children will naturally learn to question, and then our side will just question without knowing. However, first question, why not use the process earlier? When you're going to also teach critical thinking and make that children to eventually question the parents, then why do not do the process earlier? Second, they may say that there are no reason. Second, they might say that those children will ask without knowing. So I don't know really why. There are no reason for side opposition to literally say that children will never know what they ask, because that's illogical. Think, will school actually say, ask this, or to be something, or be something, like ask this to your parents, and this will obviously make your life better. This is illogical. The school will also know this fact that telling children to ask certain things to parents will not solve the whole case. So here we believe that how the school will teach to question is by actually teaching students to critically think. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Could you clarify what the difference between critical thinking and like questioning authority is? Could you just clarify what the difference is?
So we believe that only knowing how to critically think is not enough. We believe that this should be used as a way to question your nearest people, because family is the nearest people. And when you know how to question your nearest people, that means that eventually, as you live in a democratic society, you can question things around you. Instead of just critically think, right? So to respond to this POI, our side third argument is that this is a way for children to learn the essential and vital ability to live in a democratic society, which I also talked about, to question your nearest people. Like I said, in a democratic society, the world does not guide you in a good way. You should know how to question them, question your nearest people, and know the reasons why the world is making you do something. That is how people make their own decisions. However, what we are really disappointed about is the fact that the most often children just do what their parents make them do, and they cannot get the bravery to ask their nearest people. That's not a good way for children to grow up in the future. If those parents have a bad way of educating their children, it's obvious that they will be able to grow up to a brighter future. However, even if those parents have a good goal and a good way to achieve that goal, which the opposition feels like they're characterizing the whole case into this case, the process often creates conflict, even though the parents have a good goal. The basic reason why these conflicts happen is because of misunderstanding. Children will almost always have a question in their head remaining unanswered. Why am I doing this? That is the misunderstanding that leads to a children and a parent's conflict. However, in our world, we can eradicate those conflicts. These misunderstandings can easily be solved by children questioning their parents, why are you doing this? However, it is a really sad reality that most children fail in that. Therefore, we want to argue that the school, the most basic source of education, should teach them how to. Then let's look at the long term. Children will get the essential ability to question why they're doing this, to question why this happened. This is a utopian world where we want to live in. Those children who do not know how to question those asks will fail in the long term too. Therefore, we believe that to ultimately create a better world, this active questioning their closest people is the indispensable and irreplaceable ability for the children to propose.
Understand that we need to teach the students life lessons, but what the Providence site is doing is just simply making the student and children having a worse life extremely proud to oppose. Two things in this speech. Firstly, a few rebuttals to the proposition bench, and secondly, a few weighing on both sides of the house. Firstly, rebuttals. Our opponents first made a claim about how they would teach students to make a reasonable question. However, Providence site does not point out about how they're going to do that, because children are still immature. They still do not have the ability of knowing what they're saying, meaning that they do not have critical thinking and they do not have anything like that. And just simply asking questions will just make their brain go lower and lower and go worse, meaning that our opponent's that point does not stand. Secondly, about our opponent's question about why not do it earlier, because we believe that we need to first do critical thinking and then questioning, but our opponent thinks that questioning leads to critical thinking. Two responses to that. Firstly, teaching critical thinking can let the student think about the problem first and then make a question. However, on our our opponent's side of the world, the children will just ask and not think, making their IQ and making their brain just go lower and lower and bad and worse. Second, the children are still small, and they don't know what they're doing. I mean that they might do some things that are not beneficial to them. However, is that actually what the proponent insight and the options I want to see? No, obviously no. Second, third point about how our opponents think that learning questioning parents will help critical thinking. However, George, we want to emphasize here that it is just exact opposite as our opponent think, because critical thinking leads to questioning with purpose. However, when you just question and question, there will no critical thinking in your mind. Hence, even if you actually learn this type even if you have just learned this this type of skill in your social life, when you become older and older, your question will just like they're not valuable. Hence, people will think that you're very dumb. However, is that actually still what we want? Obviously, no. I'll take your POI now.
So, if a child can question authority at home, how will they learn to think critically and about other authorities they encounter?
George, because I want to emphasize again that since a child is still immature, they do not have the ability of thinking about what they're asking first. Hence, when they ask all of these questions, they will just like they don't know what they're doing. And when they actually got into the habit of just asking without thinking, it will lead to a very bad thing, just as what I've characterized before in my speech. Now, moving on to Wayne. Listen, George, operative insight, I want to emphasize here that whatever time the operative insight is teaching parental authority, it will always bring a huge amount of bad benefit. Why is this true? Let's first look at the first case, where the kid is very young. George, due to the age of the kid, their mind is not fully developed and is not mature. Hence, that's where we need the parents to prevent them from doing anything harmful to themselves. Now, the operative insight might be questioning about the parents' authority and the credibility. However, note here that the parents are the ones that love the kids the most, so they won't do anything harmful to the kid. Even though there are still some cases of child abuse happening around the world, the probability of child abuse is extremely low. Second case, where the kid is in puberty. Obviously, first, we have already clearly shown to everybody that the kid will automatically question their parents in puberty stage because they were more freedom. This means that still teaching the children to question parental authority will make the family relationship become worse. Moreover, with our new alternative of simply teaching the kids to pursue and follow their dream, the kid will automatically start to question it. Now, why is our site so much better than the proposition bench? George, the first thing to know here is that our opponent's side of the world was the school teaching the children to question their parents. The children's intention of questioning the parents will become higher and higher, hence making the family's relationship become worse. On our side of the world, those children pursuing their dream and finding out the way to question others by themselves and critical thinking. We can still create all of the benefit that our proposition site can make, but at the same time prevent the harms that proposition sites are imposing other children and the entire family. Given that, I think there's a very clear thing to point out about the entire debate, which is that only on our side of the house we actually have the incentive of actually preventing argument from happening and hence making the whole family relationship become better and better. Hence, this is the close opposition ballot ever.
I do not get why side government really portrays this type of side opposition. It tries to portray this type of question as no brain thinkers, right? They try to portray this type of students are just questioning their parents without having to think why they're questioning. This is not true. Maybe these type of children have a bad relationship with their child, right? Those could be the cases where they know why they're trying to question their parents. They could think that okay, I have a bad relationship with my parents, and up to that certain point, I am questioning them because I do not get why certain points exist that I don't like, right? Those are the key points that the students can think for themselves, right? This is the right thing that anyone in school can do. And even in the first place, if you don't get it, school provides you other students to think, right? These other students can also answer for you. Why are we thinking about it, right? Those type of critical thinking is also developed in our place. So either way, we say that it's either symmetrical for both sides, and the fact that you're trying to frame this type of questioning without thinking why they're questioning it is supposed to lower your IQ. This does not make sense, okay? This is the first premise that really destroys their first two speakers in today's debate. First, we believe that this type of emotion is going to affect the children who are at their adolescent periods the most. Okay, the reason is because these type of children are at their time trying to get away from their parents, right? So like in that sense, we believe that this is going to be the most important stakeholder in today's debate, and that's why in our first clash, relationship between the child and the parents is better in our side. Although we did say that it will give the most effective to the children, we want to specify this type of large field of children into one type of area called adolescent periods amongst kids, right? Which is the type of area and time for children to actually try to get independence again. parents. No, thank you. With this, there are two faults of phenomena that are likely to happen. First is about the fact that children are questioning these type of parents' authority against their parents and can have many outcomes within it. But the main is about the fact that these people are able to solve the misunderstanding amongst their parents. What do I mean by this? First, due to the fact that they're questioning the parts that they don't get about their parents, this often leads to the understanding for both sides. Right? If you don't get something about your parents, you can actually question it. Why am I restricted to always sleep at 10, right? Those are the cases. Nothing. You can think about the fact that okay, maybe my parents are trying to let me be tall when I grow up. Okay, those are the possible occasions. And even if you don't get that type of thinking process, there are other kids next to you in school, right? And that's why we think that this is one of the most key points we win in today's debate, because not only due to the fact that this type of idea is too good for the children to have, it's because about the fact that the school is the perfect environment for these type of children to actually question them, right? Due to the fact that they're always thinking about why they're doing this and why their parents force them, they can grow empathy for their parents, ultimately leading them to actually think about, okay, maybe my parents are trying to protect me from bad people, and that's why he's trying to warn me to not go to to go to streets or whatever, right? Those are the type of cases that actually exist. No, thank you. We believe that towards that, we actually are able to bring these type of empathies for this child and the parents, and ultimately showing fact about the premise about how on our side people are going to have a bad relationship with their parents, ultimately destroying the premise. Moving on to the second clash, we also believe that they are going to be able to be ready for democratic society. Why is this? Because the first idea is about the fact that school, as having other students as well, are able to show show these type of ideas to other children at the end of the day, right? What leads is to the fact that people are able to keep thinking, which is why they're ready for the democratic society out there, right? Through this type of thinking process, not only are they able to think about other children's ideas or opinions or about their beliefs, at the end of the day, what we show is the fact that people can also get ready for the democratic society, but second of all, are able to have the relationship between the child and the parents officially better than their side. More than proud to propose.
Or a judge. In this speech, I will explain the two clashes and exactly why we have won both of them. So the first clash is on critical thinking. So our proposition has stated that if schools teach kids to question parental authority, then it will lead to critical thinking and building essential skills so that they are more ready for a democratic society where they can critically think and question others. However, it's actually the opposite. They said that questioning leads to critical thinking. However, on our side of the house, we're saying that in schools, children should learn to critically think, which will then lead to questioning with a think about it. Children don't know what they're doing. They are still inexperienced in this world. They don't understand the true meaning behind their questions. So, for example, children don't understand politics and international relations. So they may question later. They may question their parents on their view on international relationships when they have no idea how it works at all. So on our side of the house, schools teach kids to critically think, which will help them question more. I'll take your POI now.
How come you guys frame these type of people not thinking without just questioning their parents without thinking? How about and when you guys try to get these type of people to critical think, and you think there's a purpose within that? Please explain.
So what we're saying is in school, right? We, instead of teaching them how to question parental authority, we teach them to critically think, and this will lead to better questions. And we're not saying, and instead what our opponents have been talking about questioning first. But since kids are inexperienced and they don't understand these topics, they don't actually know what they're questioning. On to the second clash. This one is on family relationships. Proposition has stated that if its children learn to question parental authority in school, then families will have open communication, which then leads to better relationships. However, on our side, we have proved that if we teach the children to question parental authority, it will make things much worse. So teaching them in school is overboard. So children around our age love to disobey and not listen to their parents. It's just part of something that children at this age think. So if we teach them at school to disobey their parents, or let's just say question their parents, children will take it as encouragement to not listen to their parents or just question why their parents are telling them to do this. So, for example, the children might not listen to their parents and start on drugs or smoking, even though their parents told them not to. And they would do this because they think that their school has been encouraging them to question their parents' ideals and not listen to them. They will use what the school taught them as evidence. So these children don't know why they're questioning this authority, but instead they think that they can. Now this can lead to students questioning their teachers and their peers, and then they will grow up to question authority, and they don't even know why they're defying it. And in the end, this will way worsen family relationships, as these children just won't listen to their parents. Because we are completely winning on both of these clashes, please vote for opposition, Judge. Thank you.
Judge, the main clash in this debate is, should we first teach kids to question, or should we first teach them how to critically think? So first of all, our opponents say that we will teach them how to question, they will teach them how to question first, and then that will lead to them critically thinking. But we have already talked about how if we teach them how to question authority first, then what they will lead to is they won't think about why they're questioning authority. We've said that through all our speech. We have proved that if they just think, for example, we've talked about the example of if they question their parents about why they're addicted to video games. They just say, my teacher told me that since you told me I should stop playing video games, that's going to be wrong. But instead, on our side, what happens is that they ask their parents, why are you not letting me play video games? Because that is what we have taught, the critically thinking skills. So we're teaching them that it's not just to question authority, to question what is right or wrong. They're questioning, should I do this? They're questioning, is this right? Is this wrong? And this leads to more critically thinking. This leads to them critically thinking for themselves in the world about, should I, let's just say, vote for this person? Do I think their policy is right? Instead of just saying, the government told me to do this, I'm not going to do it because that is what I did with my parents when I was young. So we believe that we have already proved why we should teach critically thinking first. And we have also talked about why questioning your parents will happen naturally. We have already talked about how as you grow up in puberty, the search for freedom and searching for yourself, as we are teaching in schools how you are going to search for yourself, follow your dreams. So slowly they'll start to question their parents. But instead, on our side, what happens with that questioning is that they're asking why. Instead of saying, I need to question you, they're asking, why should you tell me to do this? So that means through teaching them to have critically thinking skills and then questioning their parents, that builds up even more critically thinking skills, instead of on our opponent's side, where they're just teaching them how to question their parents and never teaching them, why should I question my parents, and why should I question what is wrong. So for all the reasons above, Keith, ballot to opposition. Thank you.
Josh, we cannot understand what their side is talking about. This debate is going messy, and I don't know if we should call our opponent opposition or proposition, because teaching critical thinking is just a process of teaching questioning, and I literally don't understand why this is their policy. Our point was really simple. First, children needs the ability to question. Second, directly teaching how to question the most basic source of education is the best to solve this problem. And yet, Josh, the thing we do not get the most from side opposition is that they're characterizing teaching in a wrong way. Does teaching how to solve English problems mean that they're going to make you solve English problems without teaching you English? Does teaching you how to argue means that they will make you argue before you know how to speak? That does not make sense, right? The school, when they teach you how to question, does not mean that they're going to teach only questioning. That's illogical, Josh. That cannot never make sense and will never make sense. Think about it. The school never tells you, okay, no matter what your parents say, or what parents you have, just First, ask why you're doing this. And second, ask what is the meaning of those restrictions. And third, something like that. The school never makes you do that unless the school program teachers are stupid. They also never say things like, you do, okay, if your parents say no while you're playing a game, immediately ask why before recognizing what is happening. That is not school education. When we say education in schools, we obviously mean that we're going to teach them to question by critical thinking, realizing the status, realizing what your parents want, and tell them things like, when you feel like, tell those students things like, when you feel like you don't know what your parents are aiming for, or when you do not realize why you're doing an action, try asking the parents what they're aiming for and realize you realize your current status. That is the way to educate, Josh, and that was our policy. We're genuinely disappointed by how this debate is going on and how side opposition is making this debate not clean. They're characterizing education as copying what the teacher says. That's lawful. They're characterizing questioning as becoming a literal criminal. They characterize students as something that knows nothing, that don't even know the reason of asking while asking. They characterize the school education as evidence to commit a crime. Josh, as a debate judge, I hope you recognize this fact that their side obviously lacks engagement on our side and tries to say one of our processes of policy are their policy, and that this debate obviously goes to our side. Thank you.